That'll happen when pigs fly. How many times have you heard that in your life? I first heard it when I was a little kid and I wanted to build a hovercraft for my mom's vacuum cleaner. Yeah. I still hear it today from time to time. It comes in different forms now. That's not pragmatic, or you get a yeah, but this, that, or the other thing. It's what practical people say to dreamers. And they're often right. But not all the time. What happens when pigs really do fly? When rules that we've just generally accepted to be true change, making what once seemed impossible, possible. Picture yourself in the 1980s with your parachute pants and your mullet haircut, maybe even some big hair. Pick your poison. What pigs weren't flying then that are flying today? How about things we take for granted every day, like the ability to have a video chat with your family right from your cell phone? Or control the lights in your house from vacation? These are back to the future innovations that old Marty McFly would have been proud of, but they didn't happen overnight. They started with an idea that was nurtured over time by dedicated individuals who truly believed that pigs could fly. Now, I've been in the supply chain industry for over 23 years, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about the making and movement of stuff, which is the supply chain. And I got to tell you, the change going on today, it feels like 1995. When the internet first began to transfer from seller to buyer, the greatest source of power since the dawn of time. Information. This birth of the information superhighway has changed our lives. Think about how it's changed your purchasing habits. It used to be that it was the car dealer and the retailer with their point of sale information that controlled all the cards. Now you're in the driver's seat. Now you're in the driver's seat. This increasing access to information has changed consumer expectations forever. Today, we increasingly want what we want, when we want it, at the lowest possible cost. And it's getting as close as possible to this ideal that's the new competitive advantage for business. We're entering into the next phase of the information superhighway. Let's call it the My Way Highway. While the information superhighway was about empowering consumers with information, increasing their expectations, the My Way Highway is about fulfilling those expectations. But here's the catch. How do you get exactly what you want when traditional manufacturing is about producing a lot of the same generic thing? And how do you get an order on demand when transportation networks were built to consolidate many orders? And oh, by the way, how do you do this with the least possible impact on the environment? These are the new consumer expectations. And this is where a paradigm shift is occurring. Rules are beginning to change. Let me start with manufacturing. Manufacturing has followed the rules of mass production for decades. But what if you could get exactly what you want? A bobblehead with my head. A cell phone case that conforms to the exact proportions of my hand. Well, that's where change is occurring. Industry 4.0. It's a term that was coined 3 years ago to describe the factory of the future. And today we have next generation robots that allow for easy setup and easy moving for shorter production runs of more customized good, getting closer to that ideal of the My Way consumer. You've heard a lot about 3D printing. Well, 3D printing you can manufacture in units of one versus thousands. And there's been tremendous advances in terms of the materials that can be used, in the speed of production. There's been a lot of articles written on that. But I want to talk about something different. I want to talk about the network. What if it's not a prototype of a custom cell phone case that you want or that you need, but hundreds or thousands around the world, all conforming to the exact proportion of the My Way consumer hand? How would you do that? 1, 2, 3 printers, regardless of how fast they are? No. You need hundreds, thousands, intelligently connected in key areas all around the world, creating an elastic, on-demand manufacturing cloud. That's shaking up the snow globe. That's the My Way highway. Think about an Atlanta entrepreneur. They just got funding for their custom tool on Kickstarter, and now they have orders. They need 500 in New York. They need 500 in Shanghai. All they would need to do is upload that information into the on-demand manufacturing cloud, and those tools are printing in minutes, if not seconds. 2 key points. It's on demand, so you're not devoting resources to production until you get an order, which means you're lowering inventory, you're lowering cost, you're improving cash flow, and you're manufacturing closer to the points of production, which means you're reducing the time, cost, and carbon of transportation because you're producing where people are using the product. So clearly, pigs are beginning to fly in manufacturing, so let's talk about transportation. Actually, let's take a ride on the fast lane of the My Way highway. There are a lot of very cool concepts in terms of high-speed transportation. I'm going to talk about 2. Have you heard of the Navy's railgun project? The railgun uses electromagnetic energy to shoot projectiles over 100 miles with pinpoint accuracy. Could that be applied to package delivery between crowded metro areas, landing softly with a parachute? My personal favorite is the Hyperloop. Have you heard of this one? This is the concept championed by Elon Musk, where people could travel in a tube, in a capsule on a cushion of air. It's estimated that people could travel between LA and San Francisco in 35 minutes with less cost, more safety than plane, train, or auto. If this came to pass, wouldn't this be the default choice? Now take this technology and apply that to transportation. And if people could travel between LA and San Francisco in 35 minutes, certainly packages that don't need to breathe, eat, sleep, get up, sit down, go to the bathroom, could go even faster. And the infrastructure built less expensively. So if you're a retailer, you wouldn't need duplicate inventories in LA and San Francisco to serve the on-demand, I need it now consumer. And if you take high-speed transportation and couple it with on-demand manufacturing, the implications for inventory become even more profound. And yes, I used inventory and profound in the same sentence. I'm a supply chain guy, I'm sorry. If you're in business today, you know this to be true. Inventory is the devil. It's product that you've paid to manufacture, you've paid to transport, and it's sitting somewhere on a shelf waiting to be purchased. The value of inventory in the United States today is $1.8 trillion. Every dollar that we can pull out of inventory due to on-demand manufacturing or high-speed transportation is good for the company, it's good for the consumer, and it's good for Mother Earth. Now let me give you another example that's a little closer to home. You promised your daughter a SpongeBob pillow pet. for her 8th birthday. Problem number 1. Today is her 8th birthday, and you totally spaced it. So panic comes over. And by the way, if you don't think this is a panic situation, then you don't have daughters. So you scour the internet, you find a pillow pet, it's in Los Angeles. Problem number 2, you're in New York. Problem number 3, there is no problem number 3. This is 2025, we're riding on the My Way highway. That pillow pet is picked up in Los Angeles. It's moved to the Hyperloop station, it arrives in New York in a little under 2 hours, and it's delivered to your home, and that's less than 4 hours from inventory to making your little girl happy. That's the My Way highway. Now, the concepts that I'm talking about today, some are in practice, some are in development, some are purely aspirational. But the why behind all this is indisputable. The rising expectations of consumers is not going to stop. And it's beginning to clash against industrial age manufacturing and transportation practices. As a result, rules are beginning to change. And when rules change, the impossible becomes possible. Pigs begin to fly. My advice, don't be the only one standing on the ground when everyone else takes flight. Thank you.